Cultural and Creative Federation of South Africa, which represents the interest of South African artists from various sectors. This morning, we take a look on how they help transform the entertainment industry. To talk more on the matter, we are joined in studio by the president of CCIFSA and well-known and celebrated actor, Tony Kgoroge. Good morning, Tony, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for honoring us. Now, let's start first of all with what is CCIFSA and what is it about and how did it come about?
Well, CCIFSA is a Cultural Creative Industry Federation of South Africa. How it came about, in 2009, the president of the country, His Excellency Kgoroge Zuma, met with the artists from different sectors. And it was very clear on that day that we're speaking with fragmented voices. And he then encouraged us to organize ourselves and make sure that we're well represented and our needs are represented and that we speak with one voice. So in 2014, then there was an interim committee formed by the Department of Arts and Culture. And then that interim committee was led by Mam Yvonne Chaka, who was the chairperson of the interim committee, who then led us to a conference in March 2015. And then from then, we were then elected as the leadership. It was me and 13 others into the leadership. So
let's take another step back. Before that crucial meeting with the president, there's always been a conversation of the Creative Workers Union. So the question is, was there not an organized voice like as the Creative Workers Union, which always represented the voice of the artists? And with the formation of CCIFSA, what happened to the Creative Workers Union?
Well, there was the Creative Workers Union, but it was limited in the scope at which it was trying to, let me rather say, it was limited in how, in its representation of the creative sectors. Now with CCIFSA, we are very broad as a federation. So we look into all 8 sectors across the creative and cultural industries. I mean, from craft to film to performing arts, into heritage, in museums, into technical support.
So it's creative, artistic, holistically.
Holistically. And then we are supposed to then be affiliated too by national organizations, which are then dealing with each specific sector. And they form sector councils and then they affiliate to us.
So I'm going to hammer a little bit on the Creative Workers Union, because so to demystify, is this a union? Is CCIFSA a union? And then if it is, how is it different from what Creative Workers Union we're doing? Because there's a bit of a misunderstanding there.
Well, CCIFSA is a federation.
It's a federation.
And then the unions then affiliate to CCIFSA.
So Creative Workers Union is an affiliate now of CCIFSA.
Well, we haven't sat down with them to talk about those kind of things. But other organizations have done that. And we're also organizing through provinces as well.
So as a person in the creative industry, do I join CCIFSA as a member? How does it work? How do I get CCIFSA to represent my interests?
Well, we're trying to do away with individualism and representing the interest of
an industry,
excellent individual, but we want to represent an industry. So we will encourage you then to join whatever sector you're operating in, because there are formations out there, and you join them, and then you become part of the a sector council, and that sector council then affiliates to CCIFSA. Then that's how then your interest will be represented.
So if there is no such a sector or affiliation, one can be created, and it must be associated with this federation in particular.
That's right.
That's how it should work.
Yes.
So let's talk about the work and how you're making sure that now these creatives are being represented. I mean, creative industry is one of the biggest employers of young people, and we're faced with one of the biggest challenges of unemployment. Out of the percentage of unemployment, about 25% of it's young people who are unemployed. How are you dealing with that as an industry?
Well, first of all is just to identify where these young people are, in which sectors are they interested in, and mostly you'll find that they are mostly in music and
television,
TV and film,
fashion, film.
That's where they are. So we encourage them also to affiliate with the organization so that we can understand where the problems are, and then we'll be able to then to engage people like your DTI, your NFVFs, and so on and so forth, that we actually have created a platform for us to work closely with to make sure that we can tackle those issues of unemployment when it comes to the creative and cultural industries. And then not only that, but also to transform the industry, you know, and making sure that our people benefit.
Let's talk about that transformation. What are the major challenges when it comes to issues of transformation? I mean, 22 years down the line, there's a feeling that the industry is still divided on the color line. Is that one of the issues that you guys are tackling?
Well, that is one of the main issues. If you look into the television industry, it's the same thing. If you look into the music industry, it's the same thing. But most of the people who are in front of the cameras, or the people who are holding the mics, performing, the black people, but those who are actually running and making sure that they're making money out of this, they are not. It's not. You find out in most cases they're not. It's not our people, our black folks. Is our white compatriots in the creative and cultural industry. So that is something that we also have to look into and make sure that there's a balance. And when the president talks about the black industrialists, we're very interested in that, to make sure that you don't become only performers, but you also own equipment, you own the means of production.
Okay. All right. Another gap that exists is the older generation versus the younger generation. The imparity between men and women, you know, entry level versus established. How are you tackling some of those challenges that really, because there's sort of like no norms and standards of this industry, the individualistic issues that you talk about. How are you tackling that as CCIFSA?
Well, you know, what we're trying to do is we have set up what we call the legends, and these are the people where we say, as the industry, we need to look up to. They have walked the walk. They know exactly what has happened and things like that. But we don't want to have a vacuum between
a gap.
Between the young people and the old. But making sure that at least they give knowledge to the young, and the young can learn from that. And if they have new ideas or new programs that they can take forward, then they can take it, but with acknowledgement
of
those who have walked the walk before.
Okay. Finally, let's talk about this 90% local music that's happening at the state broadcaster, the significance of this moment to the creative industry, and maybe the misunderstanding of what that represents to the majority as a country.
You know, this 90% thing, it's actually a beautiful thing. I don't understand someone who stands against this 90% local content quota. In a way that it is also dealing with transformation in a way. When you look at our music, within the music industry, you'll find that we don't even own the heritage of our music. It's owned by other companies. When we talk about royalties in the country, we're talking about not South African musicians getting royalties in this country, not South African actors getting royalties, and so on and so forth. It's all being accumulated by people from outside. So we are saying, with 90% local quota, then the industry,
so it's beyond music, obviously. When you say local content,
exactly. The local broadcaster then are forced then to play South African music on their stations, and then that means that the royalties of those of whatever comes out of that will then go into local artists.
It stays in the country. But why is there a feeling that there's certain quarters which are against that? Is it specifically because maybe of Mr. Hlaudi Motsoeneng specifically, or are they anti this policy or anti the person? Have we been able to establish as CCIFSA?
Well, it's very confusing. And that's why we also want to make sure that we clear the blurry lines. And in terms of the 90% quota, we support it fully, and we are not backing off from it, because we know exactly what it's going to do for the country, and we know what it's going to do for the economy of the creative and cultural industries. Now, and then when it comes to the issues of Mr. Hlaudi as a person becoming, we also acknowledge that people have come in and out of the SABC, and they've never been able to identify and value the South African artist like he has. So we are saying, he who has done good, let him stay there and continue to do good. You know, don't get rid of him because of your personal issues. If you have personal issues, then let's sit down and talk about it and see how we can meet each other halfway and say, no, in terms of us, this is what we want. In terms of you, you tell us what you want.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to leave it at that, Tony, and all the best with, of course, your work at CCIFSA. Are we going to see you in front of the camera anytime soon, or is this your new job?
No, it's not a job. It's just me being an activist.
It's just you being an activist.
Yeah, but I operate within the creative and cultural industries as a
Okay.
director, producer, and actor. Yet you will still see me.
All right, great stuff. Of course,
Yes.
that's a man who wears many hats, Mr. Tony Kgoroge. Of course, been talking to us as president of Cultural Creative Federation of South Africa, and he's also an celebrated actor. This guy is friends with Idris Elba, guys. Like, doesn't get better than that. We're coming back with more after this.